Welcome back to The Watch. And just when you thought you were safe from another reboot series, Disney's done it again.
And this one is particularly pernicious in my mind. This is like such a bait and switch, and they are relying on the bait with this one because they are going back to a very beloved franchise and property, the classic X-Men cartoon. Did you watch that?
No.
I did. That was on TV.
I was not born,
You were a generation too late.
Yes, I was, yeah.
Man, yeah. Like, that was one of the cartoons I had growing up. That and, like, Spider-Man. Oh, man, love those cartoons. And it was the cartoon that really, like just made X-Men really popular. Made me fall in love with the characters. Then, of course, I got X-Men comics as a result. And so they are making a sequel series that's actually chronologically based after the events of the classic cartoon that so many people like. And it's all right. That is bait. That is trying to pull on people's, nostalgia a lot. And it looks like it's just going to have the same Disney stuff. The trailer didn't really have anything in it apart from like a hint here and there. There's like a news article that has like, I don't know, some mutant fashion show and they're wearing weird clothing or something like that. But there are some other signs in the trailer as well where they're going in a different direction. Do you know?
Define different direction.
Less round.
Okay.
A bit less weight.
Yep.
Yep, you could say a bit.
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, Chad. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So
A bit less attraction, or
yes, yeah, that. So the original X-Men cartoon was perfectly happy to draw the female characters in them beautiful, and rightly so because the male characters are buff and ripped out as well. It's the classic heroic ideal. That's problematic in the modern day. And so Rogue, there's like, stills of Rogue in the X-Men cartoon where she has some curves. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
And those curves are very missing in them because that's just problematic. We don't want men to be attracted to women, so we can't draw them attractively.
I mean, I feel like I've gone to enough conventions and seen enough like cosplays that just everyone loves Rogue.
Rogue is so popular. And when I say like they don't want men to be... surely people can acknowledge there's been an attack on the whole fact that men like looking at pretty women. That's the male gaze and you're problematic, and yet they'll strip Thor in a movie and have the female characters ogle him, right?
It's also just funny because I think, there's also women who like women too who are probably a bit upset as well.
Yeah, I'd
at this
say that
fact,
as well.
And they're kind of more your side leaning, so you're upsetting them too.
Now, this is what we would call red flag. Maybe a small red flag, but it's still there, and it makes people like, all right. But the bigger red flag is in regards to the character bios. So, Morph, he is, I think they call him non-binary or something like that. And look, the whole...
In the 90s,
yeah. The whole issue that conservative people, religious people like us have is that is actually a more mature concept of sexual identity, gender identity and stuff like that young children, that's completely off their radar. And the other thing is, we also understand young children are very impressionable, okay? And so if there is this celebration of, look how brave and bold someone is for being this or that, and children see people being celebrated for it, children like to be celebrated. And they start gravitating towards certain things where they have no inclination to beforehand. If they actually have these kind of... lifestyle inclinations, that will manifest naturally as they grow up. It does not exist in children, okay? And so putting this content in children's content is not on. And conservatives, like us, Christian, we have big issues with it being in children's content. And so when you have a character in a children's cartoon, which is openly, identifying in certain ways, that, one, children will either come to understand naturally, or two, it's the parents' choice to when to teach children about these more mature, perspectives on gender and sexuality and stuff like that. It is not the right of Disney or anyone else to try and force those concepts onto children when the parent doesn't want them to be on their mind yet, all right? And so big issues with that. And that is in this X-Men cartoon, that they have openly, look, it's right there. And so that's a big red flag for people like us. And if they're happy to do stuff like that, it's usually an indication that there's gonna be other things in it as well. What are your
I'm just thinking of, like, cartoons are being tainted. Like, I'm thinking of Velma as well, which was such a disgusting cartoon. It worries
admittedly
me.
not a kid's cartoon, but
No, but
yeah.
you know what? In some ways, it could have been pitched towards that in trailers and stuff.
And I could see kids accidentally clicking, oh, Velma, Scooby-Doo, I like that. And then just horrifyingly mature stuff. And then just gross stuff as well. Yeah. Let's not destroy and corrupt wholesome children's properties, please.
I just want to see them bring back a property and not change it in the slightest.
Good luck.
Like, it's impossible for them. They can't help themselves, but it would be... like, I was talking to Nate about it, or we mentioned it to him, and he said, I'm not that interested because it's not the same thing that he grew up watching as well. It's different. It's changed. So, the nostalgia isn't there as much as the classics, because even when you have things as simple as changed voice actors, it can ruin a show for some people.
Yeah, you're right for that. I did distinctly note that even Wolverine's voice was quite different from the cartoon version, and it just, didn't feel the same.
Yeah, so I think it's a bait and switch, unfortunately.
I think it is as well. Look, people will judge it on its merits when it comes out, but usually these red flags end up bearing fruit quite reliably. There's only a couple of instances where they haven't, and when they don't, we're like, all right, we let you know. And again, House of the Dragon, Dungeons and Dragons, clear first examples where we were like, this was looking bad, red flags. We will find out when it comes out, but these are some big ones, especially that this is a kid's cartoon, and it's also my childhood that you're messing with. And if you're wanting to then hijack it for your own friggin' propaganda, I guess me. And so I probably am not even going to give this the time of day because of the red flags, but I will listen to other people who, give a review, and we'll find out. We'll see what happens when it comes out. But again, this just feels like Disney Marvel doing Disney Marvel. They're trying to bait people in with nostalgia, things that they love, but now they're going to reframe it. There's some problematic elements that they need to correct because they can do a better job than people who were far more talented than them and made successful properties that people really loved. That seems to be what's going to happen. What do you think? Do you reckon it'll be good? Do you reckon it'll be bad? Let us know in the comments. And as always, stay on watch.